welcome to my YouTube channel, Juliet McNeil Crafts. So today I thought I would play with our new collection. To be honest, this has been out for quite some weeks and I have not yet demonstrated it here on YouTube, so we're about to rectify that. But this is the Arctic Adventures. Thankfully my amazing team have been on it. Dawn has made loads. And we've got Jenny as well now, and she has made some bits and bobs, so she's here on YouTube as well, so I will link all of those people down below for you to have a little look. But this is the Arctic Adventures collection. So we have Elsie Eskimo, and Elsie was my grandmother's name, so I like alliteration when I name my characters, so as soon as it's Eskimo it just had to be Elsie. And then this little one is Elise, and my daughter Kezia, her middle name is Elise, and I deliberately chose her middle name as Elise as it was an anagram of Elsie. So I love this collection because it's like, that's my granny and that's my daughter. So yeah, we also have a little igloo house which is kind of hiding behind Elsie's head there, but yeah, you can check it all on the website if you want to so wish. We've also got Maurice the moose, Peggy the penguin, and Wendy the walrus. There's also some other images which I will play with today because I've not had a chance to print them out again, so I'm just showing you from my journal. I actually did this in a live on Facebook. I do a live on my Facebook page, Juliet McNeil Crafts, every Monday night at 8 o'clock, so if you fancy joining me, it's lots of fun. We normally do something crafty together and there's normally some sort of amazing special offer for you as well. So the two characters I didn't use was Willow the whale and Selena the seal, so today I'm planning on using Willow. And what I'm planning on doing, we also have sentiments. We also have 5 backing papers and sentiments, but the sentiments are: have a whale of a time, you are amusing, Eskimo kisses, winter days, admit it, life would be boring without me, if kisses were snowflakes I'd send you a blizzard, no snowflake ever falls in the wrong place, snow much fun, and brr. So actually these do come normal white, it's just that I've printed that on top of one of the printed papers. Okay, so in a Dawn and Julia Create, there's a few Dawn and Julia Creates ago, we did this, where we made an under the sea thing using sort of lots of rubbish. I think that we had to have a cardboard, we had to have bubble wrap, a few bits and pieces. So this was what I made, and this was also prepped for Hachanda. Now because it was prepped for Hachanda, I had to make it multiple times. So I have this one, I've got another one that's finished and looking like this that I actually demoed on Hachanda. Again, if you wish to see either this one or the demo, I can link to the videos on below because they're both on my channel. But on Hachanda you sort of have to have many steps ready. So I still have the initial step. So what we did was we've got a cardboard circle. I used texture paste through the suspended circle stencil. I think that's currently sold out. Sorry. We've got the gritty, Pretty Gets Gritty texture. I've got some of the steampunk cogs, some little cogs, yeah. And then that was another one that I started. That was one of the stages that I did on Hachanda. So we'll finish that one another day. But what I thought is, because it's kind of under the sea-ish theme, we could have Willow matching our little seahorse. We could have 2. It's like, why not? It seems a waste that this is just sat here and doing nothing. So what I am going to do is let's grab some white gesso, and I think this one here I did using acrylic paint, and we did an ombre effect. I kind of don't want to do an ombre effect because it's kind of like, we've seen that, it's been demoed twice. I did it once in Dawn and Julia Create, and I did it once on Old Telebox. So let's do something different. So first of all, I am going to get my gesso out. I've got my 13 Arts. It's the first one I picked up, to be honest. I would like to say it's my favourite. It is my favourite. I do really feel I need to treat myself to some more of the Pinto spray gesso, because that stuff is just a miracle. And on stuff like this it'd be brilliant. You just do 2 squirts of it and you're done. That is quite good. I also like to use the Pretty Gets Gritty gesso quite a lot, but it's not nearly as thick as this one. I love the thickness of this one, which is why it's my preferred choice. But actually the fact that the Pretty Gets Gritty one is a little bit runnier. I do find it sort of flows into some of the nooks and crannies a little bit easier. But this is one I've grabbed, and they all do a fantastic job. If you've got, it just shows though, use what you have. Basically all we're trying to do is prime it. So this is the wonder of gesso. I very frequently get asked, you know, if you're starting out, what do you need to get? And I would say 3 things. You need to get yourself a gel medium, because literally a gel medium sticks anything to anything. You need a gesso, because that is your primer. And what is amazing about this is we have metal on here, we have plastic on here, we have MDF on here, we have cardboard on here, we have thread on here. So we've got lots of different substrates that we are working on. And your colouring mediums, when we go to colouring, will look completely different to... I have lost the ability to speak, it appears. Your colouring mediums will react differently to the different surfaces. So it's going to run right off those glass beads, it's going to run right off those cogs and the plastic, it's going to absorb like there's no tomorrow into the cardboard, and most likely into the MDF as well. And then the overall look will be very patchy and not make much sense. But by putting gesso on, we can unify the whole project. Now you get gesso in white, you get gesso in black, and you get gesso in clear. If you can afford it, I would suggest getting all 3, but if not, I would probably say white. Get white, and then sort of maybe whatever you prefer. If you like doing dark grungy stuff, get your black next. If not, get your transparent next. And the third thing I would recommend is to treat yourself to some form of pigment or mica powders. I have done multiple videos on this as well, which again, if I remember to link all these videos that I said I would link, I will do, because basically with your pigment powders, if you mix them with water, you've got watercolours, you've got sprays, you can create really cool backgrounds just by sprinkling it and spraying water over it. With gesso you can create chalk paint. With your gel medium you can start to create glazes and things. So it's almost like you can go into the shop and buy a cake, or you could go into the shop and buy flour and eggs and milk, and you could make a wide variety of cakes. You know, it's just that you actually have to mix it all together and make the cake yourself. So it's a bit like that you can go and you can buy chalk paint, you can buy alcohol inks, you can buy watercolours, but if you're starting out it's expensive to do all of that, whereas if you get pigment powders you can sort of like make your own, as it were, and that'll get you started. I mean, I'm not saying that's where it stops, because if you see the collection of paints and products I have loads. I'm a magpie, I want it. But I didn't have it all to start off with, and this is how I started, and that is how I would recommend anybody start. So I am going to stop waffling, because I think we've been waffling for Britain. That has actually got quite a good coverage now, so I am going to leave that dry, go make myself a cuppa, probably give it a second coat while I'm at it, fussy cut out Willow, and I think we'll do a different medium. We've done the ombre, so let's do something. Let's get sprays out or something like that, and we'll see how we get on. I will be back in a mo. Okay, so I have my gesso all dry. I've got out my tissue paper for using with my sprays, because it's quite a good way of protecting your desk. Plus, it makes some gorgeous papers for you to use later on. Now, I decided I'm going to play with my gloss sprays, because I haven't played with them nearly enough, and they are an epic product. So if you want to learn more about them, please do check out Angie B Cards and Crafts, because it's one of her favourite products and she plays with them all the time. I had originally pulled out my greens and blues thinking Under the Sea, but then I looked at the way I've coloured Willow and actually she's quite purpley, so I think I'm going to go pinks and blues. Yeah, so what is very, very cool about the gloss sprays is they are an acrylic spray. So whatever is the first colour that you put down, that will be the colour that will push through. So basically some of this will absorb into it and some of it will sit on the surface. Whatever sits on the surface forms a skin, because it's acrylic based, so it's basically plastic. That means when you put a colour on top, the colour under it will resist. So it's almost like a resist technique. So the colour you put on first most likely end up becoming your more dominant colour. And also because of the way the properties work, it means that you very rarely get mud. Normally when I'm doing mixed media with you or anything with a product, I'm always saying, I'm just going to hold this up to sort of protect my, I'm going to get some pink on. I get you to think about what colours you're putting down first. And I would normally say, you know, the other thing is as soon as you have finished using it, you need to wipe the nozzle because it's a plastic, so that will form a skin and then you've ruined your spray, and I've managed to ruin a few of them already. But again, RGB Cards and Crafts shows you how to fix them. Yeah, so quite often I would say to you, don't put your 3 primary colours together, do 2 of them, and then put your 3rd one on as a contrast, otherwise you're going to get mud. You don't really get mud with this product because they resist each other, which is kind of cool. So I'm putting these colours down first because I want these to be my undertones, and these are the tones that will push through. So again, see how that all covered? That will, I mean, I have to say I've been pretty good and covered them and put the lids on, and I've still had little cloggages, but you know, they're just such a cool product. So I'm now going to go with the Ocean, and then gradually you'll see what I mean. Some of this will merge, but you'll find that, because obviously I'm wanting to go for those purpley tones, but you'll find that those pinks will push through. You give it a bit of time and it will push through. So I'm going to spray this all over, and as I said, we're almost getting that cell look. It's almost, oh, I forgot to clean it. It's all, look, and this is why. So you'll end up with plastic clogging the inside of it, and you'll not be able to push down properly. So you do absolutely must clean round there, clean your spray and come down. So you can see there that that is pushing away the first layer, so that pink layer is becoming the more dominant layer, which is all just pretty cool, to be honest. It gives such a different effect to any, because there's so many sprays on the market. I'm just going to try and put this Ocean one down at the bottom so that yeah, there's so many sprays on the market, and you kind of think, oh, I've got sprays, and so I don't tend to buy them that often, because it's like, I think, well, once you've got one lot, they're all kind of similar, aren't they? But these just play so differently to anything else out there that it's, yeah, it's just really fun. I'm going to put some of this turquoise on as well, just to brighten it a little bit. And yeah, it's almost like the cells that you get in an acrylic pour. I'm going quite heavy with that because I really want that sort of awesomey, glossy feel. But you can see there, although I've put loads of it on, that purple is determined, that pink that we put on first is determined to come through. And yeah, it's just a really interesting effect. I'm going to layer some of that on. In retrospect, I'm kind of wishing I'd gone heavier handed with the first lot, because it's almost slightly like a pink speckled egg look, which wasn't really what I was expecting. But yeah, we will work with that because we can always put other products on in there. So I'm thinking that Willow will look quite nice. She'll blend quite nice. Now the other thing that Dina Wakley says about these sprays is do not force dry them. Let them do their own thing. You know, they're designed to resist each other. They break down. Look at this cell formation. They're designed to sort of break down and cause this sort of cell formation. As I said, it almost gives a look of an acrylic pour. I'm actually thinking, I wonder about whether I should grab my white. I'm going to just try popping a bit of the white, because I mean, it is the Arctic Ocean. Pop a bit of white onto there as well, just to see what occurs. Yeah, I like. Oops. So yeah, it's fun, and it's no matter how many layers that you put on, that, as I said, that first layer is always going to push through a little bit. But yeah, that white's just sort of added, it's sort of creating little veins, but that pink's still coming through. Yeah, so yeah, we need to leave it to dry to do its own thing. It will sort of bubble a bit too much. You don't get the same cellular effect if you sort of force dry it. So I'm just going to leave it to do its own thing because I've got quite a lot of things to video today, so I'm sort of doing a few videos all at the same time. So I will just kind of leave that to dry, work out what I'm going to do with it next, and have a little play with something else in the meantime. But for you, I'll be back in a second. Okay, so that's dried a little bit. To be honest, most of it was dried naturally. I did force dry some of the thicker bits. Now, I'm not sure. There's a bit of movement there. I'm not sure. Part of it feels a bit sticky, and I was wondering if the gilding flakes would stick to it, but actually I don't think it's quite sticky enough for that. But I do have some flitter glue, if I can actually open it. So I have managed to open my glue, and it's completely useless. But I just thought I'd come on and show you this, because look, this is why it is important to use your products, because that looks like probably 3/4 of a tub of glue. It's old. I bought it ages ago when using the gilding flakes seemed like such a cool idea, and look, it is completely useless now. So the reason that I've shown you that is, please, if you are spending your hard-earned money on products, please, 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 please use them, because yeah, this can happen. Now I'm going to have a hunt around. I'm pretty sure I've got some two-way repositionable glue, which I think will do the same thing. But yeah, I just thought I would show you that because I spent money on that and now it's literally getting thrown in the bin. So that's why, don't hoard your lovely products, use them. I'll be back in a moment. Charmaine had given me some, and I cannot see it for the life of me right now, some stencil glue, which is amazing, and I think that's remains tacky. I think that would probably be my best option, but I can't find it. So I'm going to use the Stick and Spray from Crafter's Companion and try and be as contained and directional as possible with it. So I'm just going to try and put it in different places around here and amongst all of this here and see what occurs. You live and learn. This will either work or not. And if it doesn't, you know, what's the loss? It's a bit of cardboard. Right, so we'll let that sort of dry a little bit. So it doesn't take too long to dry, but what that product does is it's a two-way tacky, which is kind of what we need because we're needing these gilding flakes to stick to it. Now, I've chosen this particular one. I'm going to try and be as specific as I can because we've got these lovely sort of bluey, greeny tones with the coppers in them. And I'm thinking that they will go really nice. So normally I would just sort of sprinkle on. I kind of want to make sure I get some of the silver as well though. But I'm trying to make sure I at least get some of those blue things. So I'm just going to the areas where I have stuck that glue. So it shows that there's more than one ways of doing something and accomplishing something, so we will work around it. And it's fine, and it's a lesson learned for me that it's like, yep, use your stuff for goodness sake, girl. Do you know, actually I have got a paper pad that must have been, no, I'm not sure if it was the very first one I bought, but it was the first one that was a bit expensive. I had, I don't know, I think it was about £20 or something, and it just, like, when you're starting out and other people, you know, you've not yet met, you've not yet found your crafting companions, and yeah, £20 on a packet of paper just seems the most ridiculous money. And I can tell you what it was. It's a K & Company one, and it was Amy Butler, and oh, beautiful paper pad, absolutely loved it. It was really, really retro and everything, and I have still got the bulk of it. And it's quite sad because at the time I bought it, I loved it, absolutely loved it. really right up my street. It was like really retro-y. Yeah, it was just brilliant, and because I loved it so much, I was too nervous to cut into it and to use it. And now I look at it and it's alright. It's not my favourite paper pad in the world, but now I'm sort of left with this. I think I want a little bit more down the bottom as well. Now I'm left with this paper pad that I'm not overly in love with anymore now, but at the time I did really love it. I was hoarding it. And so it's now completely wasted because I spent all that money. If I'd used it at the time, I would have probably used it up. I would have probably thoroughly loved what I made because it was, you know, it was in vogue at the time. It was where I was at the time. Because, you know, tastes of our own change as we develop, and also fashions change, and it does all sort of make a difference. So that is my recommendation to you. This hasn't stuck. Well, not all of this is going to stick, but I'm just wanting to make sure that I actually do cover the bits that have got the glue. But I'm liking this. We've got, as I said, the fact it had the silvers and the gold tones in it. And we didn't use golden flakes on the original. We sort of created sparkle in other ways. So I think I kind of want to, obviously it started out the same, and we're going to be finishing it off with a different image, but I thought it would be quite interesting to do, you know, try and find some more of the blue stuff. I thought it would be interesting to have that difference, you know, the fact that we started, well, it's exactly the exact same products, the exact same layout, but this time we are taking it in a slightly different direction because we're using different products and different techniques to finish it off with. So again, it kind of shows as well, if you watch the original, I thought, oh, that's really nice, I'd like to have a go, but I don't have acrylic paints. Well, use what you have. You know, if you don't have acrylic paints, use your sprays. If you don't have sprays, use your paints. It's just, I've now managed to gild my nails. I'm not even sure if I'll manage to get that off either. I might just have to have a silver nail for the next week. So it looks all a bit garish there because, you know, there's just masses of it. But then you get your little squishy, squidgy thingy. I've lifted that up there, but we'll get some gel medium on that just to get it back down. And now this becomes a nice subtle detail, and it's a bit more distressy looking as well. Let's get that all down. I really like how that's gone on the cog there. That's just a bit cool. And you know, I haven't used gilding flakes in ages, and I watched Angela, and I know I've mentioned her a few times today, but she did a live on crafting together with all brands, and she had her gilding flakes out, and she was kind of saying, oh, this is something I've not done in ages. And I do seem to be doing that recently, that I'm sort of rediscovering forgotten techniques. The other thing that I did the other night was I did paper piecing in my live, and that was because some of the girls on my team have been using the digital images and paper piecing them, and it looks so good. I was like, oh, I totally forgot. Totally forgotten. I'm just going to try see if this is going to take off my nail a little bit. Yeah, we're going to have fun getting that off. Right, so that's how it's looking at the minute. I like that element of sheen. Yeah, I'm still tempted to do a little bit of, I don't know whether to do some dry brushing or just whether to get some, oh, sorry. I am making such a noise. Such a noise. Right, let's have a look. Let's get, I'm also tempted to put a little bit of crackle on it. That will require another waiting time, though. That's what puts me off slightly. What do we think? Oh, this is when a live would be good. What do you think? Right, I'm just gonna, we'll do crackle another day. I really want to, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I'm also sort of getting close to finishing this one, and it would be nice to have a finished project, because I seem to have lots of projects. Like today's sort of filming day for me today. I've got bits of peace and quiet, so I've just sort of turned the camera on first thing this morning, and I should really pop this down with gel medium off camera. And I have got my silver Pebeo gilding wax, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit more of the texture, and it's going to have a different sheen to it than the gilding flakes had, so we will see a contrast between both of them. Plus, as I said, the gilding flakes, we've got that multicolour effect, whereas the it's a more of a one-tone monochrome look. But yeah, I'm not going to go over where the gilding flakes are too much, because I just want that punch of colour and bling. It's just a bit lovely, really, isn't it? I always worry when I slip into accents like that it sounds like I'm taking the mick. I'm really not. I was born and brought up in Scotland, north of Scotland in Inverness. My mum is from Lancashire, from Bolton, and my dad is from Wales, from Bridgend originally, and Carmarthen area. And so I've kind of had, you know, family in my life, lots of family in my life with, you know, the Lancashire accent, and that's a fairly strong accent. And obviously I've had lots of Welsh connections, and that's a fairly strong accent. The Scottish one as well. So I do tend to find that I can slip in and out of accents quite easily, and I'm always a bit worried that people might think I'm trying to take the mick or something, and I'm really not. It's just, it is actually all in there, and it depends whereabouts in the country I am as to how I talk. So I find that if I go down and I start to see my family in Lancashire area, that accent will come to the fore, you know. The Welsh one isn't quite as strong, because my dad doesn't have a really strong Welsh accent, but obviously I had family with a stronger Welsh accent, so it is there. I can slip into it a little bit, but I do kind of slip into the Lancashire one a little bit, or a Scottish version of the Lancashire one. But yeah, I always worry that people might think that I'm taking the mick a little bit, but I'm not meaning to. I always worry that that's going to happen when I'm on Telebox sometimes, that I'm going to be like, do it and start mimicking the presenter, and then they get upset. I'm sure they won't, but you know, it's always a worry I have, because I just... Right, there we go. That's that all like so. Let's get our little Willow to the side. The thing is, I'm in the process of filming about 3 different videos, so trying to locate different things. Oh, that's just a bit pretty, isn't it? That's nice. She looks a bit cute. Now I don't know now whether I want her. Yeah, I do. I want her there. Right, so I'm going to first of all grab my... Oh, everything's all over the place. I have to move my pens because I was trying to film on my phone and my iPad at the same time in my last video, and I've moved my set of pens. Right, okay, so I've got this Spectrum Wire Sparkle pen, so let's give Willow a little bit of sparkle, because I just think she suits it, quite frankly. So I'm just going to get that on there, make her just a little bit sparkly. We will probably need to do some shadowing behind her to make her stand out, because it is very similar colours. But as I said, I sort of made that decision partly because the other one that we did was the greens, so why not do something very different? So we've as I said, we started off with the same base as our seahorse one, but we've done this very differently. Okay, so, oh, she's so pretty, even if I say so myself. Right, let's get her tucked on there. I just need a little bit of cardboard behind her head, just to sort of stick that. I might actually try and curve her a little bit as well, just so. Oh, look at that, isn't she so pretty? Right, let's get some cardboard. So I have piled masses of cardboard on her. I'll let you see that in just a minute. So we've got 3 pieces, kind of, and then another square of 3 more pieces, and I'm going to lather a big blob of gel medium onto those. And we will just stick our little Willow down. So I'm just going to do some dry brushing. So I've taken a tiny bit of gesso and I am just working in my lid and I'm working it into my brush, and obviously you know, it's in the name, it's dry brushing. Okay, so you want the paint or the gesso or whatever you're using to be about 3/4 of the way up your brush. You also don't want to be using the tip. If you use the tip, you are going to be too heavy-handed. So if I put that there, I've pretty much just covered that in white paint, and that's not what I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to catch the edge of it. So if you go with your flat of your brush, you only pick up the raised areas. And as I said, I'm not wanting to do this on everything because I am liking, so that's come up much better than the silver thing, but I'm avoiding where I have got those gilding flakes because they are just a bit lovely. But I'm just thinking that maybe on that texture paste, just a couple of little areas. I really am being quite specific. Normally I end up covering the whole thing, but I really don't want to do that this time because I'm liking it, but we are just needing a little bit more definition, and the dry brushing can help to do that. So I'm just going to pick up a different area. So I really wanted to emphasise this top bit and this bit here. Because I've done two places, I will need to do it a bit down here, but I'm wanting to avoid bits with that gilding wax, so I'm just going to be quite, as I said, quite specific about where I am going, and then hopefully we will add some white splashes as well, because I think with it being Arctic, it's quite nice. We've almost got like the tropical, you know, you can imagine, you know, being in Barbados and the tropical coloured waters there with your corals and your sea fish, and now we've got like grown from a tropical to the Arctic Ocean. So yeah, I like the fact that it's a completely different colourway. I think it really works. Okay, so I think that's that for the minute. We do maybe need to leave this or waft it a little bit to dry. I kind of want to get a bit of shadowing in there, but I'm a bit unsure as to how we are going to go about that, to be honest. I think I'm going to need some acrylic paint, just because we are going on top of the the Dina Wakley Gloss Sprays, which, as we've said, because they're acrylic, they're a plastic, so they're going to resist anything that's water-based. So I think we're going to have to combat that by doing something with acrylic itself. So I'm just going to maybe I'll leave this to dry so it's a bit sturdier. We'll come in and do a tiny bit of shadowing, I think. White splashes, definitely, and possibly a little sentiment, and then we will be good to go with this one. Okay, so that's all dry. It should be dry because it's been about 2 days. Yeah, I was supposed to be filming yesterday, and then my husband nipped out to do a job, and then, yeah, that took longer than he expected. Then I had to nip to the post office, and seriously, you would not believe it, it took me about 40 minutes to get through the post office queue. And then driving home, a journey that normally takes about 10 minutes, took me 59. Yeah, it was just one of those days yesterday. So I'm going to be doing a bit of shadowing just underneath our lovely little Willow. I've also got these new toys that have arrived since from Craftbox UK, and I'm very tempted to give that a go, but we'll see how we go, because I also sort of, well, I had planned to have this thing finished, filmed and up with you yesterday, so I definitely would like to get it up at some point today. Right, so we're doing our shadowing with acrylics. You normally see me do shadowing with an Inktense pencil, but I think, as I mentioned earlier, we have used the Dina Wakley Gloss Sprays on here, which are acrylic based, which basically is sort of like a plastic. A water-based product is now not going to sit on that, it's going to move off it. So, but I still sort of want it loose and watery, I don't want it too heavy. So I have got what I thought was a black, but actually, yeah, it's a Payne's Grey. And then I've mixed it with some teal because, well, I was never allowed to use black at school. Because there is no such colour as black. And quite often, if you were to colour with a straight black, it can look, it doesn't look right. It just looks grey. There doesn't, yeah, it doesn't look real. And that's because basically it's a lack of light. It's a shadow. I'm just going to have to pick up Willow's tail a little bit here because I don't want to end it up on her. So a pre-mixed black very rarely looks as effective, and I think that's just maybe we weren't allowed to use it at school and it's kind of stuck. So normally I would, if I do use a black, I normally tend to mix it with like a Prussian blue or something like that. But I'm just wanting to, I don't want to do loads because I don't want to lose all the lovely gilding that we have done around here, but I think that has made a difference already. You can see that sort of shadowing underneath, so we might just pop some behind her as well, and I think that might be enough. She was just sort of blending in, so we just needed her to stand out a little bit. Yeah, I think that looks better. I'm also a bit upset that she doesn't have her little water droplets, but they just didn't look right. I've brought out way too much paint there, so that'll have to get swiped into a journal. Yeah, so I'm thinking that what I want to do is maybe create some little wire ones. Let me see, I'm going to give that a little waft with my heat gun just so that I can continue playing. And then I'll maybe put some of that souffle stuff down just because I'm desperate to try it. The trouble is I'm then going to have to wait for it to dry clear, but I've got a few other, I'm in the process of filming another video as well, so I can maybe sort of move on to that for a little while. But yeah, that's that little bit of shadow, it really does make all the difference to your work. Like, she's suddenly now standing out from it, which is fabulous. Right, let's try some of this stuff. So I'm thinking of the Precious Opal. Dawn's bought this as well, so I messaged Dawn and saying, I think we need to do a Dawn and Julia Crate where we both use this, and she was like, yes, I think that'd be a good idea. So I'm currently thinking of other ingredients as well. Other bits and bobs of crafty goodness that we can use with this. So it's got a nice texture to it, and then when it dries, it's got different colours. I'm going to pop a bit under here as well, a little bit, because I don't want to ruin the shadowing that I've just done. But yeah, let's just bring a little bit across here, and we shall see what occurs, because I'm going to be working up here, so it's fine if this is all left drying a little bit. So as I said, this will dry clear, so all the shadowing and dry brushing and stuff that we've done won't have lost that, it will come back. But I just thought it could look quite nice, and I'm just desperate to use it, quite frankly. So I got this one and I got Fool's Gold, so that was, I had a few craft packages arrive actually, so yeah, quite exciting. But, well, to be honest, I would say it's quite exciting. I would maybe do like a haul video, but a lot of it's very just practical stuff as well. Like, I got a new mat, and I've got new pen storage, that's still to arrive. Yeah, so bits and bobs. Right, I'm just going to grab my wire, some blue wire. Obviously I would highly recommend that you cut these with your wire cutters or your pliers, not your scissors. But you know, mine are located somewhere in the loft, I think, and quite frankly I can't be bothered going looking for them because I don't even know whereabouts in the loft they would be. And this this is the fact that I have made, like, as I said, I'm sort of still in my temporary abode. Okay, there's a strange edit there by my, what do you call it, camera as well, and truly playing up. Yeah, I've sort of not got all my craft stuff down here, and occasionally I have to go and rummage in the loft for some stuff. Like, I should actually be doing this properly, but I'm just doing it loosely with my fingers, so that's fine, we will go with that. I'm just trying to create a little swirl and a little bendy sort of shape and we'll stick it in. So yeah, my husband has actually started on the studio. Now I've got cardboard down here, so I'm hoping that we should just be able to sort of ram it into the, get a bit of gel medium on the end of the wire and sort of ram it in between the corrugated parts of the, corrugated parts of the card. Now, I am no expert in this. Our Dawn is. Our Dawn does amazing wire wrapping. I don't know, I think she does have a couple of videos, I'm not sure. I know she was talking about doing some. But yeah, I know she wire wrapped some of the, the resin hearts that I had when I first launched the Curious Wonders. So yeah, I know she wire wrapped some of those. Oops. I'm just going to swirl these about. So I'm just sort of trying to create a little bit of a swirl, and as I said, this is going to be the, in lieu of the fact that we've cut off his little, or her little water spouts. I just feel she still needs something. That's a bit, could have gone round a pencil or something, but yeah, we've gone freehand. Why not? Shows you don't actually need fancy tools. I mean, it's fabulous if you have them, but you don't really need them. So maybe to cut those a bit shorter. As I said, my plan is, let's just grab some gel medium, which hopefully I have just plonked in a close location. That's texture paste. I see it. And gel medium. There we go. Right. And I'm just going to get some like so, and then as I said, I'm just thinking that if I just shove it into this cardboard. Oops. She says. Maybe not. I was thinking that I could just shove it into the cardboard. It's just... Right, I think we should be able to. I've maybe just got that a bit long, so let's cut that a bit more. And get it in, and then I think what I'll have to do is get the gel medium down after. So once I've got it in, I should be able to sort of... This is proving tricky! Tricky! Oh, that works. Right, we'll stick it to the paper. There you go. See, sometimes it's good if you think of these things in advance. And then other times you don't think of them in advance and you just kind of have to make it work. But normally you can find a way. Right, so that's one. I'll maybe do the other two off camera. Basically I'm just chopping it and then sort of sticking it to the back. Let's have that one going in the opposite direction. Let's see. I'll see if it's easier to do this one. And if not, I'll just do them off camera. But basically I'm just shoving them down the back of Willow the whale. Yeah, I'm actually just sticking it to the cardboard. That's going to be the easiest way, I think. So, yep, I will, I'm going to have to hold that a second. I will be back once I've done that. So in the end, my workaround to that ended up being that I actually just got a piece of double-sided tape and stuck it at the back of the actual paper part and stuck the wire onto that and then put the cover part of the tape back on. So we made it work. Right. I'm going to get my sentiment here. This is going to be a bit squiggly wiggly because it's like just the way it's been printed. I can't quite get it straight to break the sentiment up a little bit. So we've got have a whale of a time, and then I do want white splashes, and I also feel that this edging is not enough. Part of me wants to kind of edge more with the gilding flakes, but I've still not found my proper stencil glue, and I'm not sure how easy that is going to be to do with the spray glue, but we will have a see. I think we might have to go down that option, but I just feel it needs more framing. The other thing is I could possibly use the gold gilding wax rather than the silver. I think that might stand out more, and that might be the easiest option. So we will see. So we've got to have a whale of a time, which we can maybe put down there. Right, so I will need to edge this in black, she says, as she scans her room for her black pen, which seems to have disappeared. Honestly, we're doing well, aren't we? Does she have anything nearby? That is the question. Right, I think we will have that, but as you, again, you can see those words are disappearing into the project, and the black pen will make all the difference. I have an elegant writer. What pens do I have here? Oh yeah, here it is. Look, it's in my pen pot. Who knew? Imagine checking your pen pot for a pen. Right. Yes, that is. I do that with quite a lot of things in life, actually. The last place I look for it is the place where it should be, because it's like, what's the chances of it being there? And not very high. Right, so we're going to edge that, and as I said, it just helps it pop off the page a little bit. Especially when you're working with things that all colour tone really, really well. You can sort of lose one element in behind the next element and stuff. Or if you're working with lots of patterns as well, the same sort of principle applies. Being able to see, look, can you see the difference between that one there and this one here that doesn't yet have it? You can actually sort of see that wording much better. I think we are going to have to actually get some card board on the back of this, because we're on so many levels. In fact, this might be quite difficult to stick down there. I might have to find somewhere. I might have to put it over there, I think. Just let's see, we might have to just rearrange. I do kind of want it over here though. Possibly. We might get away with it just there. Maybe have to pop these on a bit of card. So I'll just go do that now. Okay, so that's what this one all finished. I think it's turned out so cute. And I don't know if you can see the sparkle there from that opal Souffle gel. Gorgeous. So there was my original. As I said, it's quite nice because we've got like sort of tropical and Arctic, and there is my one from today. So yeah, they both started out similarly, but we've got very different results. So thank you so much for joining me on my mixed media journey today. I hope you have enjoyed it here. If you have, please do consider liking and subscribing, and I will be back again with you very, very soon. Okay, take care then, and goodbye.